Tosti?
I was just going to say roll call.
Sorry.
Here.
Mr. Kizak?
Here.
Ms. Strauss?
Here.
Ms. Payne?
Here.
We also have Township Manager, Mrs. Tully Cools, Township Solicitor, Mr. Esposito. Nope, is he not here? Oh, he's not here, sorry. And Township Engineer, Mr. Kessler, in attendance tonight.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Griffin. I'm covering on behalf of Jim Esposito tonight from Kern and Hefner.
Welcome, Andrew. All right, our next Board of Supervisors meeting is Monday, April 9th, 2021 at 7 p.m. We do have a couple of upcoming events. The first one would be the shredding event at the Oxford Valley Mall, Saturday, April 17th from 9 a.m. to noon. Middletown, along with the partners Inspire, Federal Credit Union, and Oxford Valley Mall, will be hosting a paper shredding event on April 17th from 9 a.m. until noon at the mall. It's going to be at the site of the old Boscov's lot. People are allowed to bring up to 3 boxes per car. This is a COVID-19 safe event, so the staff will remove the items from the trunk of your car. More information is on the township website, and residents can call the Park and Recs Department at 215-750-3890 for more specific questions. The next thing on the agenda is recognitions of the Carpenters Local 176. That would be Mike Morrow, Bruce Dowling, and Don Bell. Mr. Caparo.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. One of the features that makes a community really great is through the efforts of its volunteers. So whether it's planting a tree or picking up trash or just a well thought out Girl Scout or Boy Scout project, all these great things come together to make Middletown a super place to be a part of. One volunteer project that was recently completed is at the dugouts at the 90-foot baseball field at Community Park. The skilled carpenters of Local 167 replaced the decking, the fascia, and the aluminum sheeting to really give the kids of the next generation a great place to work out at. I'll show you the work now. Nick, if you just slide through every couple of seconds. So that's the end product right now. That's the third base dugout. Keep going. That's the first base dugout. Now you'll notice the quality paint job done by Tom Tosti's son, Thomas, 14-year-old, who's also giving back to the community. They replaced the fascia. They're going to wrap it in aluminum. That'll give it 10 years, 15 years of life easy. There they go. That's a widescreen, 5 to 6 volunteers a day, just giving of their skill and the materials to do this job. You see the back of the fascia is gone, and my buddy Soar is still around. And that's how the wood was rotting. And then we're going to go back to the finished product again. And that is all the great work that they did over the course of a couple of days. So on behalf of Middletown Township, I would really like to thank Mike Morrow, Bruce Dowling, Don Bell, and a few other members of the Carpenters Local 167. None of them could be here tonight between the Phillies game, Easter Monday, and youth baseball.
Yeah.
Just didn't work out, but thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Capara, and they did do a wonderful job out there, and thanks for the pictures. It was really a nice effort on their part and a nice presentation. Next on the agenda is the Steyer Farm and Store presentation. Tim Fields, the new proprietor of the store and the farm, is going to give us a brief overview of the future of the farm and the store together. Mr. Field.
How you doing? Hi. Thanks for having me. For anybody that doesn't know, I'm Tim Field. I'm the owner of Steyer Orchard, Inc. For the last 20 years, my family's been operating the orchard through a lease with the township. The last 2 years, I've bought the business from my family. It's just me, my wife, and my 2 boys now. Go ahead, Nick. So our objectives now for the next 20 years is to run a traditional farmer's market, providing all our quality products at the store and the farm. We're looking to continue pick your own operations, but also offer all the produce from the farm in the store. We're going to showcase a lot of seasonal goods at the orchard. What that means is if peaches are in season, we're going to have peach slushies, peach cobblers, and we're really going to showcase those. If apples are in, fresh apple dumplings, blackberries are in, blackberry ice cream. We're going to, this is probably one of our biggest tasks now, is for 20 years, the two separate businesses, we're now bringing them together, and we have to get that back out to the community, let them know that we're joining these two. And we're definitely looking to show how everything comes from the farm, a whole farm to table, pick your own farm to table. And this really shows the educational side of the orchard and the farm and the property. And it's definitely something that has been well known as one of Pop's wishes, is the farm be used for educational purposes. One way to show that, my favorite way with that, was pick your own. One of the first times we took somebody to Sweet Corn, they got off the hayride, they turned around, they looked at us, and they go, "What do we do?" They had no idea how sweet corn grows. So just about any vegetable plant or anything, we have to show somebody how to pick it. A lot of people have no idea that eggplants have thorns and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. Go ahead, Nick. So just a little background. The Steyer family purchased the farm around 1910. I believe Pops was 13 at the time. The township acquired the property in 1999. They preserved it. The property used to be a lot bigger. So the main property we're on now is 107 acres. I've heard they owned land in Newtown, land all the way down towards the mall, which was mostly strawberries. I'm sure a lot of people remember that. Currently, there's 107 acres. 70 acres of it is tillable. What that means is there's 107 acres, but there's 30 acres of barns, parking lot, woods, wetlands, and the such. So people have an idea this farm is massive, and it's actually very similar to the average size farm in America. But 15 acres is apples, 8 acres is peaches, plums, and nectarines, and then there's 30 acres of field crops, which get rotated between pumpkins, tomatoes, cucumbers, zucchinis, eggplant, and a lot of that, in a typical year might have to lay fallow in order to rotate a new crop into the next year. So it's hard to say that we grow 70 acres of something every year. There's a lot of thought goes into it each year. So the orchard is currently all pick your own, except now that's changing with the new lease. We plan to continue that. We plan to keep no entry fees, no charge for the hay rides. We've always felt that way, and we've always stood apart from other farms in the area because of that. But because it's a community farm, it's owned by the township, it's never felt right to ever charge an entrance fee there. Go ahead, Nick. So future for the orchard, obviously, like I said, we're going to maintain the pick your own and the school tours. In any given year, we might do 4,000 to 6,000 kids come through the farm from summer and fall tours. Last year, we had less than 500 due to COVID, so I'm hoping things change this year. We're going to welcome them back. We're going to improve a lot of the pick your own options. So one of the issues coming down towards the end of the lease was strawberries are a 2-year crop. Last year we had a hard freeze on them, so we tore them out to plant peppers, and now there's no strawberries, but we'll plant them this year, we get them next year. And then same thing with blackberries, blueberries, and other crops like that. We need to replant them, move them into different fields, and rotate them out and start more. We're also going to be replacing several acres of orchards within the next 3 to 5 years. So there's about 3 acres of Stamen winesaps, Goldens, and Jonathans. The trees are, I'm guessing, 100 years old, and they're getting towards the end of their life. So they need to, we'll be planting new orchards, and once those ones come into production, we'll have to take out the old ones. Let's see here. We are working with the Heritage Fund, or the Heritage Conservancy, through the Steyer Trust Fund on a new open air pavilion with seating and restroom facilities. really looking forward to this. It's going to add a great feature to the farm, especially for the school tours. You know, it's just a slightly misty day. There's not really anywhere covered for the kids to go. Something like that could be utilized greatly for education and just all the time for pick your own customers. Next one there, Nick. So the farm store. A lot of people wondering about this. We have no plans to change some of the current things that work up there, the deli, the bakery, and the grocery operations. If you're looking for a pie, there's going to be pies. If you're looking for a deli, there's going to be meats, hoagies, and stuff like that. We're going to add some of our new offerings. My favorite is ice cream. I got an ice cream machine coming. I can't wait to use it. Like I've said before, blackberries are in, peaches are in. We're taking those and we're turning into some sort of fresh ice cream. Let's see. Oh, my real favorite. We're going to move the cider press up into what is now known as the gift shop area. So we want to wall off a section of that room, make a viewing window and a whole setup for the cider press. We'll actually have the old cider press and eventually get a new cider press. So we can show everybody the past, but the more efficient, better way to do it in the future here. And we'll make that available for the school tours to come up and see, which is something that actually used to happen in the past. They used to do cider pressing demonstrations. At some point, the cider press was moved down into the farm, into a tiny building, is not accessible for tours. So I'm really looking forward to that. There's also some really cool equipment in the back of the store. It's an old sorting washing machine, maybe like 60 feet long, and I'm excited to bring that out, get it cleaned up, set it up along the walls. And that room's almost going to become sort of a museum of the past history of Steyer's. And as well, we'll still have stuff for sale in there. It's a great sales area. And of course, some other things we're going to be doing. Everybody's going to see these in coming months or so. A lot of cosmetic improvements. We're looking to paint the outside, re-landscape up front, new floors, new ceilings, lots of cleaning to do in there. Next one there, Nick. So talked about the farm, talked about the store. The big thing is connecting these two. After 20 years not being together, a lot of people know this, a lot of people didn't. Obviously, we're going to start promoting and selling everything from the farm up at the store. We are not going to take too much away from the pick your own at the farm. So people are very used to coming down, picking their eggplants, zucchinis, cucumbers, tomatoes. Everything that we've done in the past will still be available as pick your own. Just if you're not feeling the heat, if you're not feeling the weather, now it's going to be available pre-picked, which is something that has not happened at the farm for 20 years. We are currently constructing some greenhouses, and that's going to add veggie plant sales, flowers, stuff like that, especially for the fall for mums. Big thing down at the farm is we always have mums on display, but we weren't able to sell them before. Everybody was grabbing them, bringing up, trying to buy them, and it's no. So real excited about mum sales. So the store can be set up as what's known as a commissary. And basically what that means is you can operate food trucks out of it or food trailers. In the past, the farm was allowed to have a hot dog truck, and we could only sell hot dogs, funnel cake, and beverages. Now, you know, this is open up. We can do a lot more ideas. So we're looking, if something's up at the store, cider donuts, apple dumplings, some ice cream, we're going to bring that down to the farm, especially on October weekends, where people are looking to enjoy the center of the farm, sit down, have a nice family picnic, have some desserts, some hot cider down at the farm while they're picking apples and pumpkins there. And of course, we're going to look into doing a lot more festivals. Because something in the past, it was hard to do a strawberry festival. All you do is pick strawberries. You got to offer a little bit more than that, strawberry shortcakes and food and stuff like that. So next one there, Nick. This was just a quick drawing. I think some of you have seen this. My friend Cheyenne made these for me. Just an idea on some of the back area. We're looking, there was a white fence on the right-hand side. It's been removed. We're actually going to put a picket fence around there, make a seating area. And then towards the back of the store by the Pops Pavilion, we'll be putting up a greenhouse. It's going to be main sales area for obviously veggie plants and stuff like that. Next one, Nick. And here's just a general idea again, the area where outdoor seating is going to go, the greenhouse is going to be by the pavilion. This is going to get a lot of use out of the pavilion now. So that pavilion was kind of built when there was a barn there. A lot of people don't know about it. It's really underutilized. I'm hoping with the outdoor seating, the greenhouse and that, a lot more people are going to head down to there. The main front field right next to the store, it's some of the best ground we have, and it's going to make a fantastic orchard. It was when we got here, but again, it was 100-year-old apple trees. They had to be removed. We'll probably go with what's known as like a trellis system on an M9 rootstock. It's just dwarf trees that are held up by trellis. And what happens is they come into production a lot quicker than a standard apple rootstock. And that should happen 3 to 5 years. I'm really excited about that. It'll look great. I think we got one more there. Yeah. Any questions?
Mr. Field, I don't have any questions. I would like to say that I do think the vision is a really good vision, and I really like how you're ready to move forward with this, and we're going to move that whole property together or forward as one. I do know what you went through so far this year, so I hope that from now we can move forward and just start enjoying the farm and the store as one, and you try to do everything we can to make you as successful as possible. So
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. It's,
does anybody else have any comments?
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Field. With that, we'll move on to public comment on non-agenda items. And I do have one before we see if anybody's in the queue there, Mr. Bauer. It says, "Hi, everyone. Last summer, the Middletown Township retention basin along Deer Drive in Idlewood took a direct hit with straight line winds. The damage was so close to 200 yards, including the backyards of the house along Deer Drive. The Public Works crew was quick to clean up the trees that had fallen on our properties and fill the giant holes left from the uprooted township trees behind our property. On this basin alone, there are over 20 stumps that have been dealt with for over the last few years. They were painted orange for removal, but has since faded. Many trees were cut down 2 years ago due to the ash borer damage. However, all the mess along the township retention basin has yet to be cleaned up since the last summer storm. As you can see in the picture, several trees are still down on the ground and many snapped in half, with a huge mess still left behind. The neighbors would like to have this cleaned up ASAP, since new growth around it will make it even harder to get to. It's a major eyesore for the whole neighborhood who walks that sidewalk on a daily basis. Do you need us to attend the township meeting and request the cleanup? There are 9 neighbors who would be willing to speak of this issue. The pictures don't do it justice. Take a drive by, see how it works or how it looks. Both basins have close to 30 stumps in all. The real mess is all the snapped and hanging trees and debris all over. We filled a report on MTGO link last summer and once again today. Should we attend the meeting virtually, in person, or rest assured that this issue will be taken care of as soon as possible? Any help with this would be greatly appreciated. Pictures of one of the basins are attached." Matt Weaver. Mr. Weaver, what we'll do is I can send our Public Works Director out to talk to you again. I know he was out there last year to speak to you about that. I don't think we will be doing anything with the stumps, but he can look at the debris and then he can let you know what course of action we will take, if any. So I will speak to our Public Works Director and let him know, and he'll be out to see it. Any other public comment?
There are no other hands raised.
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda items. Letter A, consideration of authorizing payment of April 5th, 2021 bill list in the amount of $1,104,773.92. Letter B, consideration of approving March 15, 2021 minutes of the public meeting of the Middletown Township Board of Supervisors. Letter C, consideration of approving the Wawa E. Lincoln Highway Financial Security Release Number 1 in the amount of $57,049.50 to Propco Pine Good Middletown LLC. And letter D, consideration of approving resolution number 21-1 OR records distribution. Is there a motion to accept the consent agenda items?
I'll move to accept the consent agenda items.
Second?
Second.
Seeing a motion and a second, is there any board questions? Any public questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Moving on to number 5, consideration of awarding a contract to Contact Engineers Solutions in the amount of $48,039 for the Forsythia Gate Snowball Gate pedestrian bridge replacement.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, we received bids on the replacement of this bridge. As you know, the bridge right now is in bad shape and it's not usable. So we did put it out to bid. Two bids were in. Contact Engineering Solutions was the low bidder. And if awarded, we can have the bridge about 3 months from now. And in the meantime, we can do the demolition and preparation of footings for the bridge to arrive. And if there's any questions, I could take those now.
Thank you, Mr. Hennis. Is there any board questions? Seeing none, I move to award a contract to Contact Engineered Solution in the amount of $48,039 for the Forsythia Gate Snowball Gate pedestrian bridge replacement.
I'll second.
Seeing a motion and a second, is there any board questions? Any public questions? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it, 5-0. The next two agenda items, we'll do each one individually, but me, Ms. Keely Coles, and Mr. Caparo met with Ed Preston. He is the gentleman who is doing the Vietnam Memorial there in Veterans Park. And what he is asking is for us to approve renaming these two bridges. The first one, number 6, is consideration of approving resolution number 21-11R, authorizing renaming the Brownsville Road Bridge the PFC George Raymond Huntsinger Bridge. This is a bridge that is part in Middletown and part in Lower South. Lower South is going to approve it to be renamed. They're asking for us to pass the resolution so that they can rename that bridge. The George Raymond Huntsinger lived in the Lower South Township, right on the other side of the bridge. He was killed in Vietnam. I think it was in his first term or his first tour over there. But we have to pass a resolution so that they can rename that bridge. I did make him aware that that bridge is going to be under construction this year. So they might wait until after it actually gets reconstructed before they put the plaque up. So we would just need a motion to pass the resolution.
I'll make a motion to rename the Brownsville Road Bridge, the PFC George Raymond Huntsinger Bridge.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any question from the board? Seeing a motion in a second. Any questions from the public? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. The next one is consideration of approving resolution number 21-12R, authorizing the renaming of the Unionville Avenue Bridge for the PFC John Elton Candy Bridge. Now, this bridge is the one that's actually under construction down there in Pendle and Unionville. And I didn't even think that it was in our township, but the way Ed was explaining it, there's a very small portion of that bridge that is in Middletown. Pendle and Unionville have both, or Pendle and Langhorne Manor have both already passed this resolution to rename this. PFC Candy is actually a Middletown resident. He lives right there near the bridge, And when he went to Vietnam, the way Mr. Preston explained it was, he lost his life the first week he was over there. And like I said, he is a Middletown resident, but there is a very small portion of that bridge that is in Middletown Township. And we would have to actually approve the resolution for the bridge to be renamed when it's done. So I would need a motion to approve that resolution also.
I will move to rename the Humenville Avenue Bridge the PFC John Elton Candy Bridge.
Second.
Seeing a motion and a second, is there any board questions? Any public questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. So, Ms. Pioli, we will get a hold of Mr. Preston and let him know that we passed this resolution. Thank you. Next on the agenda is consideration of authorizing the release of a bid for cleaning services for the municipal building and public works building. Ms. Burkus, I assume.
Good evening, Mr. Chair and members of the board. I'm here to request that the board approve advertisement of an RFP for cleaning services. COVID's brought along a lot of changes this year, and one of them is pushing to the forefront the importance of cleaning and sanitizing our buildings, and that would be for the safety of our employees and for the public. Our current cleaning service performs just under the bid threshold, and one lady was on site 22 hours a week that would handle police, administration, and the public works office.
Ms. Burkus, we
Yes, sir?
can't really hear you right now. There you go. If you sit closer to the microphone, we can hear you better.
Absolutely, no problem. Again, because of COVID, we've had to ramp up our cleaning of the building to keep everyone safe. We've engaged a second service to handle the sanitizing and cleaning needs on the police side, because obviously they are a 24/7 operation and use the building 3 times more than the rest of us do. The additional expenses came in 2020. We spent $73,445 utilizing the 2 services to keep our buildings clean and sanitary safe. Which is over the bid threshold for 2020, which was $21,100. Now that we're slowly moving towards normalizing, and the emergency orders, which allowed the extra expenses without having to go out to bid, will be released. And I am now recommending that we go out to bid with an RFP so that we can find a very good cleaning service at a competitive price to handle all of our office, the administration offices, the police offices, the cell areas, and our office and public areas at the Public Works Building.
Thank you, Ms. Burkus.
Are there any questions?
Good, Ms. Strauss. Good, Ms. Strauss.
I have a question, Ms. Burkus, and it's somewhat unfair because I'm somewhat asking you to predict the future. But I want to do everything we can to keep our employees and anyone who visits the township building safe, of course. But at some point, we're going to be hopefully returning to more of a semblance of normal as more of our population is vaccinated and we're able to maybe go back to our former footing. Does this contract account for an eventual down ramping of our cleaning services per state guidance and county guidance?
Well, I believe going out to bid will bring us a range of prices from competing vendors. So we'll kind of know what the cost is to actually engage a single vendor to handle the cleaning needs that we'll need, because I believe sanitizing and keeping the building extra clean is going to be important for a number of years until we know the virus is under control and the facilities are safe for people to come to.
But we can structure the bid with alternatives if the board wishes, right? So that we, have options from a, cafeteria style option. Yeah, I just think it would be important to make sure we're not locked into something for an extended duration if we are able to step back and save taxpayer dollars as we are allowed by, the guidance from our public health officials.
Again, an RFP is a competitive process. The plan is to, release the RFP. We want to post it locally so that a local qualified vendor would be able to bid. And we will review all of the respondents. We will sit down and go through the bids and also interview the different qualified respondents. And I believe it needs to be carefully done and well done. And we would make a really good recommendation to the board as to who has submitted the best bid at the best price.
Perfect. And it may be a question for the solicitor as well about how to put some clauses in there to make sure the township's protected and not necessarily locked into anything.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Parker.
I am recommending a one-year contract with an option to renew 3 one-year renewals. So that if there is an issue and we need to maybe take another look at what we're doing and either issue another RFP or go in a different direction, we have that option. We also I have a clause put in there that if it does not work out by either party, either the vendor or the township, we can terminate the agreement with 30 days notice.
What I'll state is, as Stephanie proposed, we could certainly do the bid specifications to include alternatives or different, varieties of bids to choose from.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Any other questions from the board? Any other questions from the board? Is there a motion to do the RFP?
I'll move to authorize the advertisement of RFP for cleaning services for the municipal center and public works building.
I'll second.
Seeing a motion and a second, is there any board questions? Any public questions? Any public questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's 5-0. 5-0. Number nine, the municipal sign program discussion. Ms. Keely-Coles, you doing that or Mr. Garber? Oh, okay.
Good evening. Thanks for your patience. Playing double duty tonight with PowerPoint. So as many of you know, we completed phase 1 of the neighborhood sign program in 2019 with intentions to do phase 2 last year, which unfortunately we deferred to prioritize other projects. We are recommending consideration of moving forward with phase 2. Phase 2 would add signs at unmarked intersections and entrances to neighborhoods, as well as to several of our park facilities, which in total we approximate about 64 signs in total. The 2021 capital plan budget's $125,000. And just like we did the first time, we plan to use the expertise of Public Works to reduce the overall project cost. And if the board is interested in moving this project forward, we would just need your authorization to prepare and advertise bid specifications.
What are we bidding for at this point?
Sure. So phase 1, which we did in 2019, we put out to bid the fabrication of the sign. So actually retaining a sign maker to make and deliver the signs, which we will then install in-house. And so phase 2 would just be to hire the sign maker again, since that was a one-term bid.
Would we be using the same vendor?
They would certainly be eligible to bid on the project again, but they were not guaranteed phase 2.
So we would put it out to bid?
Yes.
Now, if we get a different vendor, can we be guaranteed that it's the same sign,
so
same
the-
color and everything?
Sure. So the specifications we'll be putting out there will specify color, design, and everything like that. And I know one thing I plan to talk about with some other staff internally was possibly a mandatory pre-bid meeting. So that way anyone who is interested will actually have to come on site and we'll show them what the current signs look like to make sure that we're getting the exact same product again.
Any other questions for Mr. Vela?
And would we have something written up saying that if we took the, the vendor and they didn't look like the other signs or to specification that, we wouldn't have to pay for them, or would we see some samples before we?
Sure. We could work with the solicitor to make sure we get that in there. I know when we worked with the first vendor, they did send us a sample before we authorized the whole thing. which I would intend to do again, especially if it ended up being a different vendor.
Any other questions? I'll make a motion to move the neighborhood sign program into phase 2.
I'll second.
Seeing a motion and a second, is there any other board questions? Any public questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, 5-0. Next on the agenda is Q1 2021 financial report. Are you doing it, Ms. Field?
I am doing it. And I guess I would like to start off by announcing that our finance director, Megha Bandari, and her husband had a very healthy baby boy this past weekend. Everyone's doing well, so I will be stepping in to give the financial report for Megha. So we wish them well. And if I had my phone, I would give you all the specifications. I'm a bad mom. I don't remember 8 pounds something or other, but healthy. Okay, so we're at the end of the first quarter. This is usually probably the least exciting of all of our quarterly reports because not a whole lot has happened. If you see on the overview of all of our funds, you'll see that our revenues are at about 18% and our expenditures, Nick, tell me what that number is, 16%, thank you. So we're at 25% through the year. So you usually like to try to see the numbers match where you are in the year, but do not fear. Those are where the numbers typically are at this time because many of our revenue categories come in a little bit later. And we haven't really ramped up expenditures yet, but everything's looking pretty good right now. In terms of, you want to go to the next slide, please, Nick? We usually like to focus on the general fund. And so you'll see the revenues and expenditures, but when we look at these individual revenue categories, you'll see that the EIT is tracking at 1.6. This is the number that includes the accrual at the beginning of the year, so that this doesn't include, this, takes out money that goes back to last year. So everything's looking pretty good. Transfer tax, a lot of these things, mercantile tax, we won't see until the end. We haven't ramped up our apartment inspection program, so we have a little bit of a hit there in revenues, but everything's looking pretty good. Next item. This is the EIT on the cash basis I wanted to show you as compared to the number that we just looked at that includes the accrual. And this, we have a week by week counting of what comes in. And so at the end of the Q1 in these 4 years, we are in really good shape and ahead of where we are on those. So I think that's good news. Next up, I wanted to make sure that I announced, I know I did let the board know via email, but we have been successful in receiving, we are going to be receiving a reimbursement from FEMA for expenses in 2020. And so that'll really make a big difference in the general fund. And also we are going to be eligible for some expenses in 2021 as well. So we'll be submitting another grant application for that. Go ahead, Nick. This is just the typical slide that you see each quarter that shows you our 2 pension plans and what the ending balance is at the end of the quarter. Both of them are looking good. And that's it. That's it. Again, it's not that exciting because we haven't gotten a lot, a lot hasn't happened. Meg is on maternity leave. We worked really hard to get ready for the finance department staff and myself and the manager's team to pick up the slack. She's going to be recuperating at home and enjoying the first month or 2 with her baby, and then she'll probably be getting back to work a little bit in maybe the 3rd month or so. But everything is looking good at this point, and if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I'd like to congratulate Ms. Bondry on the baby boy. I would like to know, last year we took a big hit on the amusement tax. Do we know what Sesame Place's plan is as of right now, or where they're going to do as far as moving forward?
Well, we know we've gotten about 23,000 this year, so they must be doing something. I haven't talked to Kathy Valeriano lately, but I will touch base with her. I know they're doing everything they can to open up. So how about if I report back to you at the next meeting? I'll try to reach out and talk to her and get a sense of what their plan is.
Any other board questions? Seeing none, we will move on to other business. Mr. Griffin, do you have anything?
No, no report this evening.
Mr. Kessler?
Nothing further, thank you.
Ms. Gilly Coles?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Keyzak?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Strauss?
Nope, thank you.
Ms. Parker?
Nothing, thank you.
Ms. Payne?
I did want to actually ask a follow-up question. I believe it was at the last meeting, a gentleman came and asked about the mall parking lot situation and the large amount of trucks that are parking there. I didn't know if we had any update on that we could share with everybody.
I did notify the management at the mall about that. Was there anything, Pat, Ennis, do you have anything to report on that at all? I know we also have the potential approach from code enforcement as well.
Yeah, we haven't heard any new information about.
Okay, so we'll follow up with that, Ms. Payne. We wanted to give them the opportunity to respond before we put it into a violation scenario. So I'll reach out to them tomorrow and we'll connect.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, and I would just like to, I mentioned the Vietnam Memorial that they're doing here at Veterans Park. One thing Mr. Preston said was that they are set right now to showcase that memorial on September 26th of this year. And the reason they're doing that, it's the Gold Star Family Remembrance Day, and they plan on doing it that day. So the monument is moving forward nicely, and on September 26th, they will be displaying it. With that, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.